Hey guys, today I'm going to be reviewing and giving my overall thoughts for all three seasons of the Marvel Netflix show Daredevil. So let's get started. So starting with Daredevil season 1, this season has a lot of good stuff going for it, so I'll start with the good. So the good is mainly, like, my favorite thing about the entire season is the exploration of Matt Murdock, like, blindness and his sense of hearing being increased. Like, if you listen to it, like many points in like a lot of points in each and every episode, there's like whenever he has to find something or something like that to find through Wilson Fisk or something, he uses he because he's blind, he has an enhanced sense of hearing. So you see, I mean you hear and see like Matt hearing stuff, and you can see how far and how powerful his listening is. Like you can hear the cars, you can hear a specific sounds, and it feels like and it made me realize that even though you're blind, it's not even that much of a disability. Because every other one of your senses is enhanced. It also focuses on his smell being enhanced and his taste being enhanced by a little bit. So, yeah, that's a really nice detail that I like that they put into it. Another thing I really liked is the character study of Matt Murdock in this season. Like he goes through a really large arc learning who he truly is. He's not a man who's just blind and being a lawyer. He has to and he's not a man who just wears a Daredevil costume and roams around trying to save people. He learns the reason why he saves people. And he does it because he feels like it's his own responsibility to. And I really like that. The villain, Wilson Fisk, played by Vincent D'Onofrio, is fantastic. He's just such a maniacally evil villain. And this is probably one of his best performances, but he's just an evil villain, but and he's so intimidating. He literally because the reason he's so like that, you get to see his backstory, you understand who he is. His father's the reason he's like this. His father corrupted his mind as a kid. And then he broke his own father's skull off when he was kicking his mom. And you get to see, you understand what he's doing, why he's doing it. And it feels like a classic, but also a differentiated origin story to most villains. Like, I don't think most villains would take a hammer and smack their dad's skull using a hammer. Yeah, and he in this season he was awesome. Vanessa, I'm not a really big fan for. That's a nitpick for this season. She's just pretty annoying in a whole sight and not really that good. But Wilson Fisk was such a great villain, and Vanessa and showing that he needed a woman in his life to balance out all the hate and anger that he had in the rest of his life just shows who he really is, like how maniacal he is. I like the two main side characters being Karen Page and Foggy Nelson. My favorite is Foggy Nelson out of the two. Um, he's Matt's best friend, and the interactions they have, like he has with Matt, is super well acted and well done. And you feel like these two people know a lot about each other, and the actors just do phenomenal in the job. Karen Page, like Deborah and Wolf, Karen Page does a really good job in placing, like you get to know her. She has an entire arc this season too. You get to learn that she's not just this random reporter. She's actually really dark. She also shot down Wilson Fisk's best friend, which got him mad, and that implements itself in season 3. And I really like that as well. Also, the fight choreography in all three seasons is probably the worst of the three in this season. No offense, but the season has still fantastic choreography, but the other two is a little better. But the choreography in this season was so good. It was like a long shot and wide takes. There were no cuts. It was fast paced for the most part, and it showed the brutal injuries of what happened. And it being R rated made it even more creative. It felt real. You get to hear murmuring. It feels realistic by like the voices, and that every person takes a small break or something whenever they have it. Like whenever they have a fight and they get punched really hard, or they're tired of punching a lot and running, they actually take breaks. In every single fight scene in the entire show, it's like that, which really helps. And the hallway fight was probably the best fight in all of comic book history. He's saying a lot. That fight was fantastic, the hallway fight, and like the episode where he saves the kid. And it shows how good of a person Daredevil is, too. It shows who he is. Season 1 also had a lot of how do I put it? Like, season one had like every character interacting and a side story between all three of the main characters, or all two side characters in Daredevil. Like, they have this law attorney type thing, and also in the fight scenes, you get to hear Daredevil's voice, like him hearing stuff and stuff like that. You get to see that even though he fights, he's not like perfect or something. He gets injured plentifully. He doesn't win every fight, and if he's ever in like a situation where he's gonna die or he's trapped in somewhere, the use of creative art techniques is so good, and the character study for every single character is fantastic. So now I'm gonna go on to the bad. And the first bad is Claire. The actress who plays her is god awful, and the love triangle she has with Matt just for this one season is god awful too. Like, it made me lose so much interest in the season. Like, she is such a bad like type of protagonist in a way. Another thing I really didn't like is that Karen is really annoying in a few parts. Also, the hand plotline, although it's minimalized in here, it's really there in season two. In this season, although worse than season two, it's still pretty bad. Although it's barely there, still, it is so bad, like the hand plotline. But I did like Stick's entrance, although he is a part of the hand. Stick's entrance and his backstory with Matt is really good. And the flashbacks in this season were also fantastic. And the kid actor was surprisingly pretty damn good. So overall, Daredevil Season 1 is a phenomenal season of TV. Not perfect, has a lot of flaws, but overall, it's a season I really enjoy, and I'll give it a solid 9 out of 10. So going on to Season 2, I'm just going to state, because the Season 2 has like two arcs, the Hand and Electro plotline, and the Punisher arc. The Punisher arc is the shortest arc of the season. It's only 4 episodes until he becomes a good guy, type bad guy in a way, but the Punisher arc was just freaking fantastic. I couldn't say anything else. It's like, if this Punisher arc was the entire season, the season would be a 10 out of 10 easily. But it's not really. It's more than just. But I'll just talk about the Punisher arc quickly. The Punisher arc is like when Matt gets tied up with Frank Castle in the Punisher, and you see like why Matt doesn't want to kill, but why the Punisher does want to kill. And you get to see how the Punisher is brutal and Matt is silent in a way. And he's not that brutal. He's just punching, but he's not ending. That's pretty much the entire thing. It's showing that Matt, although he doesn't kill, which is a central rule in a lot of superhero comics, sometimes killing is mandatory. Sometimes it actually could help. And it shows who Daredevil is. He doesn't kill just because, it's the easy way out. He could easily kill. He's more powerful, like, he's such a good fighter, he can easily kill. He's have enhanced human abilities because of his blindness, which is really great. So he could easily freaking kill. But the reason he doesn't is what makes him a hero. Same thing in Season 3. But, and that was really good. The actor who plays Frank Castle is, like, so good. I can compliment him all day. He also got his own show, The Punisher. I'm going to talk about that show in a few days, maybe a week or something, but that show is also fantastic. But it only had 2 seasons, but still. For the most part, The Punisher arc for 4 episodes was really good. A solid 10 out of 10 for that one arc. But the rest of the season is partly bad, partly good, but for the most part, pretty on the worst side. Like, Elektra's introduction was so forced. The actress who plays her, although not being a bad actress at all, she's actually pretty good, is still not that great. The backstory she has with Matt is so bland and so awful. The Hand is better than season 1 in the season, but still, they're still pretty bad villains, and the plotline, the story being almost unfocused, this plotline between Matt and Karen, which is like the only time in the entire show where I hated Karen, like they had a love triangle, and then Matt for some reason is now with Elektra in a way. It is so confusing all over all of a sudden. And then you also have the Matt Foggy and Karen trying to prove Frank Castle's innocence in court, which is another plot line. And you have the Hand plot line going on, and you have Elektra coming, and you have her getting injured. You have a small love triangle with her and Matt. It is, and then the only good thing, mainly, about the second half of the season is that Foggy is really good. Karen after the love. Karen is really bad, but Karen doesn't is really bad this season. But Wilson Fisk in the 2 episode prison arc he was in was fantastic. Um, the fight choreography is even better than season 1. It's pretty much the same thing I said, but even better. And another thing I liked is the law stuff with Frank Castle and Matt. Like whenever they talk, it's fantastic. So overall, the season isn't bad, but it's not really that good because of the pretty not very good second half. So overall, I'll give the season a 7 out of 10. It's pretty good for the most part. It has a lot of good scenes in the second half still. But overall, it's good, but nowhere near as good as season 1. So then coming into Daredevil season 3. Season 3 is a lot of fun. It's jokey, it's villainous, and for some reason, it for the most part works pretty well. Season 3, it's like at the end of the Defenders, Matt presumably dies, but he actually survived. To no one's shock, why would there be a season 3 of a show where a man dies in rubble after a building collapsed? So Elektra's dead. Thank God, she was so bad. But Matt's alive, and the first few episodes of the season where he sees Wilson Fisk's hallucinations were fantastic. This is where the season's the best for me, the first 3 episodes. After that, it's not good, it doesn't fall off after that, but I'll talk about that later. So, the first 3 episodes were so good. It shows Karen and Foggy dealing with the fact that Matt's dead until they learn he's alive. It shows the FBI helping Fisk and Fisk's master plan running through so he can get out of prison. It shows Matt Murdock dealing with the fact that he doesn't want to be Matt Murdock. He wants to be Daredevil full time. He even says this line that I'd rather die as the devil than live as Matt Murdock. That's the exact line. Wilson Fisk this season was so much fun, and he was so villainous and maniacal, and it really, really worked. And the first 3 episodes where he has to deal with that fact, and Wilson Fisk hallucinations show up in his head, where he's telling him the harsh truth that who is he, Daredevil or Matt Murdock? He can't be both. And Wilson Fisk in his mind is pretty much corrupting him, which was really fun. But after those first 3 episodes, the season doesn't fall off at all. It's actually still pretty fantastic, or pretty good at least. But it falls off quite a bit. It's not as intriguing or engaging, and the Wilson Fisk Master Plan does get a little boring. Not really that boring, but it just feels more or less a classic comic book villain origin master plan thing. It doesn't feel like a Daredevil or well thought out one that much. But still, it was still a lot of fun. Bullseye was fantastic in his origin with his girlfriend, or not really even his girlfriend, but still, was really engaging. Matt confessing that she killed Wilson Fisk's best friend. And Wilson Fisk getting driven mad, and Bullseye trying to kill her. Bullseye's backstory, where he's a person with enhanced throwing abilities. The finale where Matt could kill Wilson Fisk but doesn't. Vanessa for the last few episodes being a pretty awful character. That's my only problem with the season. The main problem. Yeah, Vanessa is a really bad character. But presumably with all these problems, this season is so good. It's the most focused season in the Marvel Netflix universe. It focuses on Wilson Fisk and Matt Murdock's their rivalry so well, and you get to see each side of it. The prison fight, which is probably my second favorite fight in all of Daredevil, right after the hallway fight scene from season 1. That fight, all the fight scenes in the prison were fantastic, distinctly memorable, and well choreographed. My only issue with my main issue with the season is Vanessa at times, but that's barely enough to take my enjoyment down from the season. This season, although there's some negative, is easily my favorite season in all of comic book history. It's just maniacal, evil, well-focused, and feels like a comic book villain and hero origin story in a way where it erupts again after it already ended. And the way Matt's not in his normal suit anymore just gives the season an easy 10 out of 10, in my opinion. So that's my thoughts on Daredevil every single season, and if I have to rank it, I'd say season 2 is in 3rd place, season 1 is in 2nd, and season 3 is in 1st place easily. But just saying, every season in Daredevil is fantastic. Every season, without question. So this is my list. Tell me yours in the comments down below, and your overall thoughts, and see you all in the next video.